It all depends on what best you can do in the given resources, time, and the atmosphere around you. But the ideal is to have a beautiful riverside, a nice sattvic place where the children get up early in the morning, chant the Veda, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, do their Sandhya Vandana, and then get trained thoroughly. There's nothing, no substitute for that. And the Gurukul should be run by a Guru and a Guru Mata. That is why we require Vanaprasthas. Without Vanaprasthas, you cannot run any Gurukul. Very difficult. If you see the olden times, Gurukul was run by whom? All Vanaprasthas, all Rishis. Guru, Guru Mata. Because you have children, 5-year-old child, he requires a mother. What does make a 5-year-old mother, a 5-year-old child? Every boy requires a mother. At least till the age of 18, 19, 20, he requires a mother. Because that motherly affection makes him a brahmachari. Not the Upanishadic study which makes him a brahmachari. Because for him, as soon as he sees a woman, he should only remember mother. When it will happen? It will happen when the mother has given so much of affection. So Guru Mata has the power. Her pativrata was so much that she could give unlimited affection for unlimited children, whom children they were, more than what their own biological mother would give. So Gurukul is because of Guru and Guru Mata, and more than that, Guru Mata. So biggest problem is that mothers are not there. It's just mothers are not there. We have doctors, we have engineers, we have that and this. Mother, where is mother? Of course, I'm talking something which is away from the subject, what is given to me. But since you asked the question, and the point is about Gurukul, which I'm also contemplating for many years, what to do. If you want to, after so many years of contemplation, I've come to a conclusion, my conclusion, of course. We require a very wonderful mother to take care of children. That is very much lacking in our society. In my childhood, I have seen such mothers, but where are those mothers these days? People have become putanas. If you go to mother, they don't know how to dress themselves properly. They don't know how to tie their hair. It's all just crazy. They're interested in being very ambitious, not interested in cooking, not interested in taking care of children. So if we have somebody very much groomed nicely in the traditional way, those old people above 50, 45, 50, that mothers are required. Because children, they require mother. How can you have any children hostel going on without mother? Anyhow, this is what is I can tell. We can discuss offline regarding this subject later. Narada boy was given mercy because he had these qualities, or because mercy of Vedanta did he develop this quality? Yeah, very good question. I already told this point. Narada got mercy not because he had qualities. It is because of mercy of the Bhakti Vedantis Narada developed these qualities. That is what he actually says. Now, question. As you mentioned, Sabhava was seen by astrological chart, but we don't see the referred to astrology of the disciples to engage them through. As I told, by their sadhana, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expert astrologer. He just can see the person and understand. Don't underestimate our acharyas. In astrology also, not everybody has to see the chart. There are many levels of astrology. Of course, why you are making me speak something? They're very different. Just by looking at a forehead, can understand. What to speak of that? Just by the time you come and meet your spiritual master, by that time, Prashna, everything comes in front of his face. What is he? Why he has come? Everything comes. Of course, very difficult for even try to explain what this science is in this form. That too for those people who have no idea what of astrology is, because they think astrology means hand or chart and looking and doing calculation. No. Some future prediction. No. It is Jyotish is one of the Vedangas. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was PhD in that, super PhD in that. Of course, he intentionally gave because he wanted to concentrate more on preaching pure Krishna consciousness. So don't say uh, he, he never used it. He used everything. He is a walking encyclopedia. Just by looking, he can make out. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is a Siddha. He is what? Nayana Manjari. He doesn't require astrology to know what the other person is. He has got X-ray eyes. He's more than anything else. Prabhuji, we are interested in hearing on the topic of education. Could you please have a separate class? We are hesitant to ask more questions from this one. Okay, we'll definitely do that. So you can you have my WhatsApp number. Those who are interested, you can ask. You can make a group and then discuss about that subject. Okay, so let me go further. Otherwise, I'll not be able to finish my chapters. Now going further, we have verse number 25. Ucheshtalepvan anumodito dvijay sakrat mabunjay dadapashtakil vishaha evam pravrittasya vishodha chetasas tadharma yevatna ruchi prajayate tadharma yevatna ruchi prajayate. So as we have been discussing, the 14 points are there. First 4 are already discussed in the 24th verse. Now in the 25th verse, there are other things being discussed. Other 5 stages. After initiation, Spriha. And after Spriha, there is Bhajana Kriya Bhakti. And there is Anartha Nivritti. And there is Nishta and Ruchi. Now, Nishta, Ruchi, then Asakti, Bhava. So now till Ruchi, these 5 points are described. Let us see what these 5 points are and how they are mentioned in this verse. Uchishta lepa anubodhito dvijay. Once upon a time, it so happened that every day he used to be get initiated. He used to serve the service, this Vedantist, his guru. Now, one day it so happened, there was a morsel of food which was left over in the plates, which they were supposed to be cleaned by Narada. So then Narada, Anumodito, he went and asked, can I accept this Uchishta? So you accept the Uchishta of the person whom you love. As simple as that. That is why Uchishta has to be given to the person who has affection for you. And it should be accepted, only those people's Uchishta have to be accepted which you have affection for. It is an expression of affection. So, Bhakta, Bhukta Uchishta, Bhakta Padaduli, and Bhakta Jal, Pada Jal, Tina Mahabal, greatest Bala. Of course, for the person who is initiated or those who are your spiritual master. So it is your affection which actually gives you spriha. So tatapashtakil vishaihi, then what happened? Uchishtalepan anumodito dvijay sakrit sma bunje. He accepted a little bit. While doing what? Bhajana. Evam pravrittasya. By doing this bhajan, what they did? What happened? Tadapashtakil vishay. So, after initiation, with great affection, when somebody chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it goes on doing it, goes on doing it, goes on doing it. What happens? Apashtakil vishay, anartha nivritti has happened. And as the anartha nivritti has happened, Vishuddha Chetasa Tadharma. Tadharma here refers to the process of hearing and chanting. And Evatma Ruchi Prajayate. Ruchi Prajayate, Ruchi has developed in the mind of Narada. So we have all the 5 next points which are there described. Utishtarepan, It refers to spriha. And then, of course, bhakti is being done. Pravrittasya evam pravrittasya tad dharma. Tad dharma is actually bhakti. And now, by performing bhakti with great affection for the spiritual master, what has happened? It gives rise to apashta kilbishai. All the anarthas have gone. So when all the anarthas are gone, not all, in a sense, praya, nashta prayeshu. Praya adarthas have gone. Then what happens? Nishta. Pravrittasya. In spite of all the difficulties, still is performing devotion. That is called nishtha. And then, as the nishtha continues, then what happens? Ruchi prajayate, taste comes. Now, for the same thing, you go back to those 1 to 17 to 21. 17th verse of first canto, second chapter. Shrinvatam sukata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridantastu yabhadrani vidunoti surutsatam. Now here, if you see, Shrinvatam sukata Krishna, in that, before that, that is 16th verse, Sushrusho Shraddhadanasya. What is mentioned there? First is Ahetu Kripa. Then Sushrusha. What is that? Bhajana Kriya. That is service to devotee. And that leads to Bhajana, Shraddha and Bhajana. So by your Shraddha, when somebody starts doing Bhajan, what happens? Shrinvatam Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Idantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti. Vidunoti. All the Abhadras, almost all the Abhadras are gone. Then 18th verse, Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nishtha. Naishtiki is Nishtha there. And going further, Tatarastamo Bhavaha, 19th verse. Kamalobhadesche Chetayiti Radham Sitam Satve Prasidati. So, after Nishtha, then there are Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava. So, Satve, Sitam Satve, it is Asakti. Then, Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yugataha. What is Evam Prasanna Manaso? This is Prasanna Manasaha. It is Bhava Bhakti. And going further, Bhagavad Bhakti Yugataha. Bhagavad Tattva Jnana Mukta Sangha. Bhagavad Bhakti is Prema Bhakti. And ultimately, Bhagavad Tattva Jnana Mukta Sangha Si Jayate. These two are the side effects of bhakti, which is there in the second chapter, where it says that Ahetuki, these things come automatically. Jnana Vairagya, Jnanam cha Vairagyam cha. Ahetukim, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Prayutaha, Janatyas Vairagyam, Jnanam cha Hetukim. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Hritin Chindan se Sarasamshaya Akshiyante Chasya Karman Drishti Vatmanishware. This talks about seeing the Lord direct, face to face. Drishta eva Atmanishware. And ultimately, experience. What is experience? That experience of the sweetness of the Lord. These two things are there. So this is how all the 14 steps are clearly mentioned in these 6 verses. And the same thing is being described in a practical way, in the life of Narada. So that is what we're discussing about Narada's life here. Let us go to 25th purport. Srila Prabhupada says, pure devotion is as much infectious in a good sense. A lot of infection has been discussed now. In a good sense, as infectious disease. A pure devotee is cleared from all sins. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is purest entity, and unless one is equal, pure from the infection of material, qualities, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord. The Bhakti Vedantas are above mentioned were pure devotees, and the boy became infected by these qualities of purity by the association of devotees. So now, but by the association of pure devotees, all these obstacles are removed. Now, what is been talking about? They're talking about, Prabhupada talks about the anartha nivritti. If you go on talking about perfect taste, ruchi prajayate, taste comes. Anyhow, all these stages developed by the association of pure devotees, and that is the purport of this stanza. So Srila Prabhupada talks about stages. So what are the stages that we are clearly discussing? 5 stages are mentioned in 25th verse. 4 stages are mentioned in the 24th verse. So let us go to 26th verse. Tatranvaham Krishna Kata Pragayatam Anugrahena Shanman Manohara Ta Shraddhayamenupadam Vishunmataha Priyashvasyanga Mahabhavadruchihi. Now the word Ruchi in the 26th verse, and if you see the 25th verse, Ruchi is also there. There are 2 Ruchis here. One is the previous 25th verse is Ruchi, and there is 26th verse also is one Ruchi. What is the difference between that? There, the previous verse, what Ruchi has been discussed is Nishta Ruchi. And then in this verse, what the word Ruchi refers to is something different. That is called Bhava. Bhava. Rati. Ruchi, Rati. That is Bhava. Now, Tatranvaham Krishna Kata Pragayatam. Anugrahena Shrinvan Manoharaha. Shrinvan means went on hearing. By the mercy of the sages. Anugrahena Shrinvan. And it was Manohara, it was so attractive to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. Tatranvaham. Tatranvaham. Anvaham. Every day. Anu aham. Krishna Kata Pragayatam Anugrahena. They were great mercy. They were so merciful. They went on speaking about Krishna Katha, and I went on hearing about Krishna Katha. Then what happened? Ta Shraddhayame Anupadam. Anupadam, Padam means every step. Vishnmataha. I went on hearing very attentively. Then Priyashravasi. Krishna himself. Oh, Vyasa, Anga, Mama, Abhavat Ruchihi. I developed a very special taste. I developed a special taste. So, what are the steps? That is Asakti and then Bhava. Ruchi, Asakti and Bhava. Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava. So in this verse, Asakti and Bhava are described. That is the 10th and the 11th point, 11 steps. How is it so? Shraddha here refers to Asakti. And then Ruchi has already been mentioned in the previous verse as Ruchi, but here this Ruchi refers to the 11th stage that is known as Bhava. Now, what is the difference between Nishta, Ruchi and Asakti? Anartha Nivritti, we understand. It's very easy to understand. But what is the difference between Nishta, Ruchi and Asakti? Nishta is a stage where the devotee is chanting Hare Krishna Mantra, doing devotional services, hearing Bhagavatam, but there's somebody beating behind him. He's experiencing the pain but still continues. That is called Nishta. Nishta means, in spite of all the difficulties you are experiencing, but still you continue. That is called Nishta. Like, I am hungry, a beautiful plate of prasadam is kept, very, very tasty things, and I'm eating. Somebody is standing behind you and then taking a chaku and then pinching. Even blood is also coming. And you are feeling the pain. But you say, you do whatever you want, I'm going to eat. That is called Nishta. You go on chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare, and somebody is criticizing you, somebody shouting, somebody is yelling you, somebody is kicking you. You go on chanting. You are feeling the pain. It is not there. Feeling pain is not there. Still, pain is there, but you are going on. You do whatever you want. I am going to do whatever I want. That is called Nishtha. Let the whole world criticize you. Let the whole world blame you for no reason. Somebody may beat you. Somebody may not love you. Somebody may hate you. You are not bothered. That is called Nishtha. Now, when you show your Nishtha and go further, then the taste comes. What is the taste? The taste is so much in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You don't even feel the pain. Somebody criticizes you, somebody beats you, there is no pain at all. It's happening still, but there is no pain. And then Asakti is a stage where you cannot live. The consciousness is that you cannot live without chanting. You feel, how can I live without chanting? How can I live without hearing Bhagavatam? That is called the stage of Asakti. Now, Narada has gone to the further stage from Asakti to Ruji Prajayate, that is Bhava. So, in the 26th verse, he has reached the stage of Bhava. Now, 27th. Tasmin stada labdha rucher mahamate priya shravasya askalita matir mama yahametat sadasat swamayaya ashe mai brahmani kalpitam pare pashe mai brahmani kalpitam pare. The Narada further says, I went on by practicing my devotion, Lord. Tasmin tada labdha rucher mahamate. When I attained bhava, what is the experience which I have? Priyash shravasya askalita matir mama. Priyash shravasi, who is actually your dear to, who is dear to our heart? It is Lord. And askalita matihi. My mind was askalita, it's undeviated. Askalita matihi mama yaya ham etad asad swamayaya. The thing which has been created by Maya, that is this grass body and the subtle body, this I could perceive that this is Lord's external energy. And I could see that I am distinct from the body. This body is just a lump of flesh, that's all. It is not me. And I could also perceive that myself is transcendental to the body, and this body has been created by the Lord's external energy, and is also transcendental to yayaham etad sadasat swamayaya pashye mai brahmani kalpitam pare. So let us see. Srila Prabhupada gives a purport. I'll read the entire purport because it talks about prema. Having attained this position, ignorance in the material existence is compared to darkness, and in all the Vedic literatures, the personality of God is compared to the sun. Whereas there is light, wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of the Lord's pastimes is itself transcendental association with the Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and his transcendental pastime. To become associated with the pure supreme light is to dissipate all ignorance. By ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly thinks that both he and the Lord are products of material nature. But in fact, the personality of Godhead and the living beings are transcendental, and they have nothing to do with the material nature. When ignorance is removed and it is perfectly realized that there is something existing without the personality, there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, then nescience is removed. Since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in service to the Lord. The gross body should be engaged in the acts of rendering service to the Lord, as bringing water, cleaning temple, and making obeisances. The path of Archana or worshipping the Lord in the temple involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking of them, and chanting of the names. All such activities are transcendental. None of the gross or subtle senses should be otherwise be engaged. Such realization of the transcendental activity is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in devotional service, but simply simply attraction to love for the Supreme Personality of God, as it was developed by Narad Muni by hearing, is highly effective. So this verse talks about that how you realize that you are transcendental to both body and mind. Go to the next verse. 28. Ittam sharakra vrishikaritur harer vishunvato menu savam yasho malam sankirtamanam munibir mahatmabir bhakti pravruttaatmarajastamopah. Bhakti pravruttaatma bhakti pravruttaatma rajastamopaha. In this way, what happened? Sharat Pravrishika Ritur Hare. 2 months passed. Rainy season, Ritu. Sharat Ritu and Varsha Ritu. Both of them passed. So now, Itam Sharat Pravrishika Ritur Hare. Vishunvato me anusavam yasho malam. What happened? I was constantly engaged in hearing the Yasho Amalam, the unadulterated pastimes of Krishna. Sankirtyamanam Munivihi, who were reciting, these Munis were reciting. And Mahatmavi, they were reciting these pastimes. And then what happened? Bhakti Pravrittasya. Bhakti Pravrittasya. What manifested was Bhakti. What is that Bhakti? The 12th stage called Prema. The word Bhakti Pravrittaha. What kind of Bhakti which manifested, which is Prema Bhakti? This Bhakti is the thing which destroys Rajas and Tamaha. Vidyate Hradaygrantyas Chinnate Sarasamshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Evatmani Ishware. Now, this is how Narada, he experienced Bhakti. Prema has been. Now, what about the 2 more steps? You reached up to 12. What about 13 and 14? The 13 and 14 is going to come in the next chapter, where he is going to see Krishna. Krishna shows him in his heart, and then he experiences, Narada experiences the sweetness of Krishna. Darshan of Krishna and experience of sweetness of Krishna, that Narada has in the next chapter. That is described in the next chapter. So this is how Narada, he has developed Prema, the 12th stage. Now, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, that is, transcendental loving service of Supreme Lord is a natural inclination of every living being. The instinct is dormant in everyone, but due to association with nature, the modes of passion and ignorance cover them from time immemorial. If by the grace of the Lord, the great soul devotees of the Lord, a living being becomes fortunate enough to associate with an unadulterated devotee of the Lord and gets a chance to hear unadulterated glories of the Lord, certainly the flow of devotional service takes place as the flow of river. As the river flows on, still she reaches the sea. Similarly, pure devotional service flows by the association of pure devotees, till it reaches the ultimate goal, namely transcendental love of God. So Srila Prabhupada talks about love of God in his purport, as Prema. Such a flow of devotional service cannot stop. On the contrary, it increases more and more without limitation. The flow of devotional service is more potent than any onlooker. Also, about the onlooker also becomes liberated from the influence of the modes of passion. What to speak of just personal practices? Only onlooker also becomes influenced by the modes of liberated from modes of passion and ignorance. Thus, 2 qualities of nature So my internet was down for a couple of minutes. So any questions, please do ask. So there was one question which was sent to me on my WhatsApp. I don't know where it is. Let me see where that is. Yes. So there are a couple of questions. Are Vedangas are also part of Shruti? No. Vedangas are part of Smriti. They are not part of Shruti. Shruti are the original four Vedas. Siksha, Nirukti, Vyakarana, Chanda, and Jyotish and Kalpa. They are Shrutis. They are Smritis. What is their utility? Veda Anga, like without hands and legs, body is of no use. In the same way, if you want to do anything Vedic, you need to know the Vedangas. So in the first training which is given to the Gurukul students is actually Vedanga. They are taught what are the six systems of philosophy. Oh, the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purvamamsa, Uttarvimamsa, the six systems of philosophies. And Srila Prabhupada writes in 1.7 that one can sit on Vyasasana only after being conversant in all the systems of philosophy. How to take this statement? You should take the statement as it is. Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Prabhupada's statements also as it is. Don't give any commentaries to it. That means one has to know at least the names of the six systems of philosophy. If you don't even know the names of the six systems of philosophy, know the conclusion. The conclusion is Krishna is Supreme Lord. I'm His servant, and ultimately attain the love of God. That is, you should know. But best is to know all of them at least little bit, and also know what they are and how to defeat them. In doing so, then you will have a better understanding. Then you can present Bhagavatam in a better way, in defiance with the six systems of philosophies. You can project the Bhagavad philosophy present. Not only present, that becomes more clear by knowing the six systems of philosophy. And six systems of philosophy are nicely refuted by Vyasa in Vedanta Sutra. And not only in Vyasa refutes the six systems of philosophies in Vedanta Sutra, he also presents our philosophy. And Vyasa himself has given a commentary onto the Vedanta Sutras, Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam indirectly contains the six systems of philosophy in the form of its refutation as well as the presentation of our philosophy, technically known as Paramata Khandana and Sumata Sthapana. So if you have studied the Bhagavatam very nicely, you not only know what six systems philosophy are, and you also know how to refute them. But we need to study it. That is the main thing. So how to take this statement? Does it mean we need to study six systems philosophy? Yes, you need to study. There are two ways of studying. One, you just study the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam purports. In that, you already have studied six systems philosophy and you know what are they and refutation. Like Prabhupada sometimes says, Sankhya Yogi sometimes say so, and these are there, they're wrong. This is how we refute them. So in this way, six systems of philosophies are refuted, and you know them, you refute them, and you present our philosophy by studying Bhagavatam. One way. And if you really want talking to scholars and giving lectures to scholars, and you have that inclination, it requires a different kind of brain to have this kind of inclination. Then you study Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purvamamsa, and you take Vedanta Sutras and study Vyasa, how he has refuted, and you take Ramanuja Bhashya, Madhva Bhashya, Nimbaraka Bhashya, and you take Bhagavatam, you take Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentary, and then see how they have nicely postmortem the 6 systems of philosophy. This is one way of doing that. Of course, it is not for everyone, and it is everybody need not do, but somebody has to do, because you are an organization, and since you're an organization, you require somebody who has that scholarship. So if you have that thing, best to do that. If you don't have, just study Bhagavatam, and you will have everything in its essence, no problem. Now, another question is, does it mean that we need to study 6 systems philosophy? When we talk about Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Pancharatras, are all these written by Vyasa and his disciples? Not necessary. Of course, Vedas are written by Vyasa, Puranas are written by Vyasa. One Purana, as he took it from his father, Parashara Vishnu Purana is from his father. And also Itihasas, like Ramayana is Itihasa, it was written by Valmiki. And Pancharatras, not all are written by Vyasa. Pancharatras, some are written by Vyasa, some are written by Brahma, and some are written by Narada. Of course, different 108 Pancharatras are there. So going further, while mentioning about Dwapar Yuga, coming after Treta, said that as per Ramayana, Indra didn't come to spoil the chastity of Ahalya, but in Valmiki Ramayana, there is a clear description of Indra coming in disguise as Gautama Rishi. Gautama Rishi crushing Indra, cursing Indra and Ahalya in Balakanda chapter 40. Please clarify this. Oh, Indra came in disguise. The word disguise is a wrong interpretation in the English translation. Govindacharya, he gives a commentary to the entire prasanga. Whatever you learn, you should learn from the commentaries of Acharyas. Now, Ramayana's expertise is the Sri Sampradaya, and one of the great Acharyas belonging to the Sri Sampradaya is Govindacharya. He gives a commentary. Of course, there is a Maheshwar Tirtha, who is a Madhva Sampradaya commentary. There is a little difference between the way they explain, why Sri Vaishnavas explain. The Sri Vaishnava commentator, he clearly gives the name that Indra, he went in the consciousness of, he attacked the consciousness of Gautama. So it was Gautama who actually came back. That verse comes where he repents. He repents. Now, if it is repenting, then it is actually Gautama. Now, at that time, he thinks, he sees, oh, it was Indra who actually made this thing. It was Brahma Murta time. I was supposed to go and take bath, and at that time he came back. Then he curses Indra for spoiling his consciousness. So people do a lot of dramatics in Ramayana, but Valmiki Ramayana is very straightforward and very simple. And of course, if you have more doubts about it, we can clarify later. Okay, let me answer a few questions and finish it up for today. Okay, question by SMGD. I don't know who's. Nave Jano Jatu verse talks about pride. At the same time, 11th canto states in the words that pride cannot come in a person who faithfully practices bhakti. He can run on path with eyes closed. Yeah, that we discussed about it. Eyes closed because you have total faith that Krishna is going to protect you. But sometimes it enters. It enters when you have lack of faith. Not everybody has a faith at the same level. 100%. 100% faith means actually prema. So what 11th canto is talking about is actually a person who has attained prema. But what here we're talking about is the sadhaka. In bhava, sadhana, bhava and prema. Sometimes Krishna uses the devotees who attain prema or bhava to show to a sadhaka that even though you have achieved bhava, you may fall down. Like Bharata, he attained bhava, but he fell down. Just to show that you cannot perform devotional service alone. You should have association of devotees. So for a sadhaka, this is being given, that pride. But there, when you talk about devotees in different places, in different Bhagavatam, you should see the context in which the verse has been spoken, to which, to whom it is addressed to, or which stage of devotion has been described. Okay, by misunderstanding 1.5.18, devotees become lazy after hearing that happiness will automatically come by course of time. But later, they later suffer as they don't get satisfaction of doing their best, and also because they are not at the level of high spiritual realization. How to properly understand this verse and explain it maturely. Such verses are also spoken by Prahlad Maharaj, Rishabdev, etc. So 1.5.18. So this verse talks about what? Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido. This verse talks about what? Na labhyate yadbrahmatyam uparyadaha tallabhate dukkhavadanyata sukham kalena sarvatra kabira ramhasa. Now, the happiness which is being described here is the happiness of material happiness. Tallabhyate dukkhavat anyata sukham. So, whom is it addressed to? First is to be understood. This verse is addressed to those who are the sadhakas. When you're doing sadhana, you find, oh, I require this facility. So let me get this facility, then I can do sadhana better. Somebody say, no, until unless I have this minimum comforts and some sense enjoyment, I cannot do sadhana. So what happens, instead of putting their hard work in sadhana, they put hard work in the happiness or trying to get something comforts. So for them it is spoken, no, don't worry. Your happiness is always fixed. Your misery is also fixed. So don't try to become happy in this world. So this happiness will automatically come means you are having hankering for happiness. So don't try to get happiness. It will come. It doesn't mean that here it doesn't mean that you have to have a desire to get that happiness. No. Here the whole purpose of the description of the verse is to explain to you, don't pursue happiness. Put all your strength in progress in devotional service. And whatever is required for you, it will come according to your karma. So don't work hard. So it is spoken in many places. Shankaracharya also says, Yavat vitto parchana chaktaha tavan nija parivar raktaha. Your family will be attached to you as long as you are working. And yallabate nija karmopattam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Whatever is your karma, let it come. Yadbhavyam tadbhavantu bhavat karmanu rupam. So it doesn't make a person lazy. Actually, it makes a person active in spiritual life. His activeness in getting happiness will be engaged in spiritual pursuits. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Is it that the influence of Rajas and Tamas continues up to Prema? Traces of Rajas and Tamas will be there till Prema is there. Actually, Rajas and Tamas will be there, will be totally gone at the level of Bhava. But why 3 stages of bhakti are there? Sadhana and Sadhya, only 2 should be there. Sadhana and Prema. Prema is Sadhya. Why Bhava has come in between Sadhana and Prema? So here, Srila Jiva Goswami, who is a direct disciple, who is editor of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says, though my Guru, Rupa Goswami, is telling that there are 3 stages, Sadhana, Bhava and Prema. I say there are only two. There are only sadhana and sadhya. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Durgama Sangamani Tika. That is why same Rupa Goswami came and Vishwanath Thakur and tell, no. What Rupa Goswami has told is perfect. Bhava has come in between because there are so many offenses which you have done during the time of sadhana. And somehow or other you have overcome all the anarthas and you have reached prema. But there is prema also and there is experience of reactions of aparadhs. And that stage is called bhava. So your answer is addressed there. So it is only at the level of prema. Tatarastamo bhava kamalobhadesche chete jaranad sittam sattve prasidati. So tatarastamo kamalobhadesche, almost they are gone at the level of asakti, and then when you reach bhava. But still in the bhava, though there is no rajas and tamas, but still the traces of the experiences or the reactions for the aparadhs, offenses, especially the Vaishnava aparadh, is still felt at the level of bhava. So, of course, there is one book called Madhuri Kadamani which talks elaborately about it. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, that also talks about these things. It's too technical, but in general, we see that there are 3 levels of bhakti that understood. That's a big thing for us now at present. Question by SMGD. It appears that stage of bhakti are very much explained by Vishwanath Thakur, as he wrote an entire book on it called, named Madhuri Kadamani. Rupa Goswami on 2 words. Did he give an explanation? Here, Vishwanath Thakur appears to explain 14 stages. Are 3 stages important to understand? Are these stages important to understand? Or just simply practice bhakti? It all depends. If you are simply practicing bhakti, then perfect. But it is good to know the different stages. What is wrong in knowing that? Here, if you don't know, you can progress. But since you are doing Bhakti Vaibhav, you should know. Because this is a part of the syllabus of Bhakti Vaibhav. Definitely Bhakti Vaibhav is also Bhakti. Studying Bhagavatam is also Bhakti. And going deep into the philosophy of Bhakti is also Bhakti. Because in the 64 items of Bhakti, we know 64 items are there at least. If you don't know the names of all the 64, you should know there are 64. Ado Gurupada Shreyaha, number 1. Diksha Shiksha Adigrahanam, Guru or Sevaya, Sadhu Marganugamanam. 5th one, what is it? Sadharma Pricha. Savai Pumsan Parodharmaha. Bhakti is Parodharma. And Bhakti means 64 items. In that 64 items, one is Sadharma Pricha. That means to dwell deep into the devotion, the philosophy of devotion. To go deeper and deeper. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The more deeper you go, the great devotees, they enjoy in the deep ocean. So, knowing the 14 stages of bhakti, analyzing them, trying to know, go deeper into it. Is it not bhakti? Actually, it is bhakti. The analysis of the verses and squeezing out the rasa from the verses, is it not bhakti? Rasamalayam. Do you think what Vishwanath Thakur given 14 stages is it not bhakti? So, the analysis of the scriptures and a very deep understanding and relishing the deep understanding of every verse and every word, that is also bhakti. It is one of the 5th item of bhakti, one of the angas of bhakti. It is not jnana. It is not jnana mishra bhakti. And one verse, to see that verse in different angles, to relish every word in that verse, rasamalayam, it is bhakti. So, simply do bhakti, it is ignorance. To consider Bhakti Vaibhav, the analytical understanding of each verse, one verse, You read for years and years, the same purport. See the novelty in that. That is bhakti. So, what is the meaning of just simply practice bhakti? Simply practice bhakti means what? What does it mean? To be a fool. Devotee is not a fool. So, science, our acharyas have taken so much of pain to write these books. You will elaborate commentaries. Srila Prabhupada wanted to give a commentary in Ramayana also. He wanted to give commentaries on many other acharyas. So, if at all, if you want to relish, it is a commentary. Verse is sambandha. Word to word meaning is only to know what exactly word is speaking. Translation, only translation. Actual bhakti is the commentary. Mula and the commentary. Vyakhyana. The more Vyakhyanas go, the more Ananda. Anandambudhi vardhanam pratipadam. If Aswadana is not there, what is the use of your so-called simply doing bhakti? Okay, I'm getting angry on this. I don't want to be angry more. Sometimes as a person, I find myself intellectualizing, philosophizing in response to things around me. How to see, how to see, how do we balance between emotion and philosophical understanding? Devotees are soft-hearted. That is why this verse is there. Kayena macha manasindriyerva vruddhyatmanava prakriti swabhava. What is your nature? According to that, you perform bhakti. So you don't have to be somebody like other person. Other person need not be like you. Krishna likes variety, and there are so many varieties. So if you have the inclination of to be philosophical, well, somebody just can chant Hare Krishna and clean the vessel and go back home, back to God. Somebody is philosophical, no problem, both are the same. But that doesn't mean that if somebody is philosophical, he is Jnana Mishra. If that is the case, then Prabhupada is Jnana Mishra, because the kind of explanation he gives, the tangential explanation he gives to the verses, especially in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatam is all 70% Vishwanath Thakur's commentary. And especially his lectures, they're amazing. Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. Adhyatma Jnanityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. If you want to see these two things, here Prabhupada's lectures and conversations are Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. These two are well established in his conversations and lectures. So, what's wrong? We need to see everything from the eyes of knowledge. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Utkramantam Siddhamavi Bunjanam Vagunamitam Vimuda Nanu Pashyanti Jnana Chakshusha. You have to be Jnana Chakshusha, Pashyanti Jnana Chakshusha. This realization, it is bhakti. Now, last. Prabhuji, what about Bharat Maharaj, who was Bhava stage? That is what I told. I knew somebody would ask a question. Krishna makes a devotee at the level of Bhava also to fall down, to teach a particular thing. Like Arjuna was Parshad, he made Arjuna to come down to the position. He's making Vyasa. Now in this particular context, he made Vyasa to get into this kind of despondency, to give us Bhagavatam. So it is a pastime of Krishna in which Bharat Maharaj is the obstacle in his case was that he wanted to be practicing bhakti alone. I don't know how many of you went to the place where Bharat Maharaj did this tapasya and this pastime happened. I went to the place. It is called known as Beni. In Beni, there is one Shakti Peeth, Kaleshwar Mahadev. There, Gandaki river flows. There is Bharat Maharaj ashram there. Of course, there is one down in the valley, one up the hill. I went there. It is on the way to Muktinath. So there, Krishna is teaching to all of us that if you are not having association of devotees, then even you may have reached the stage of bhava, but you will fall down. the chance of falling down. So always be in association with devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kahe, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi. We stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue where we left over, and 3 days more. And somehow I had to be more fast because these verses are very technical. That is why I went slow. The next 3 days we'll finish. Try to complete our discussion on the 5th and the 6th chapters. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.